Hello, hello, hello there. All right, so here's your card pick. You have card 1 to pick from, card 2, or card 3. All right, so for the people that picked card 1, you have I call to remember thee. You have the Justice card in reverse, and you have unprotected, the Oracle card unprotected. This card talks about your relationship with God. This card speaks about you fighting against yourself. I'll dive deeper into it. Of course, this card, as you can see, is for some reason it's talking about, for some reason there is, there are some areas where, you may be unprotected. So as I dive deeper, let's dive deeper into it. You need to make sure your foundation is stable. When it pertains to your foundation, I'm talking about your spiritual foundation. Make sure you are not opening doors too prematurely. Make sure you're opening doors that you know how to close spiritually. Be careful when it comes to dibbling and dabbling in everything, because it kind of has you feeling like, so this card was in reverse. It kind of has you feeling lost in the sauce. It kind of has you feeling like you don't know if you want to go left or you want to go right. You don't know if you want to do this or you want to do that. You want to make sure that you're secure and know what you want to do spiritually. Take baby steps. You do not have to complete everything at once. It is imperative for you to build your foundation first. That foundation is, I'm going to be for real with you, your foundation needs to be God. Because for some reason, this card is in reverse. You don't really have much, there's a lack of, I wouldn't say a lack of interest in God, but there is a, religion did you dirty. So we're going to talk, religion did you dirty. Because religion did you dirty, you're unsure where you lie with the notion, the dogma of God. All right, fine. You could take the whole name, just call it source. You need to know who your creator is, and you need to have some type of relationship with your creator, because these doors that you're opening, there are some doors that you're opening that you cannot close, and you need to have a strong foundation in your creator to know that you are protected. Your doubt and your uncertainty of where you're going spiritually, and you just rushing to get things done, it's leaving you kind of out there unexposed. It's leaving you out there exposed to any and everything, and that's where this unprotected card comes in. And so you need to make sure that you're taking baby steps. You're doing the bare minimum first. The bare minimum is forming a relationship with the creator. Now, I don't know what that looks like for you. But you need to figure out what that's going to look like for you. If you were raised in the church, you pick and choose what feels right for you. If you were not raised in church, you have to really get down to the core of what that feels like for you. I have a book I can recommend for you. I'll tag it in. I can't think of the book right now, the name of the book, but I see the cover of it. But I'll tag the book into the bio section here. Let me see if I hear any more. Basically, what I'm hearing is like, so anytime you start something, that's when anytime you create something, you start something, you want to make sure you're starting off right. Even if you're creating a business. And I'm just giving an example. Like, so for example, when you start a business, you want to make sure of course you want to make sure you hit the ground running, but you want to make sure you do it in a way where, there's longevity. You want to make sure you do it in a way where, you're secured. You don't want to throw all your eggs in one basket. I'm trying to tie this into spirituality. Give me a second. I'm going somewhere with this. Give me a second. I just had it. Give me a second. You just want to make sure that you are doing everything you need to do to lay out the groundwork. You want to make sure your foundation is secured, because what basically that's what I was getting at. What's going to happen is if you're not doing everything correctly and you're just half-assing it, or you're quickly doing things just to get just to say, oh, I did this, or I completed this task, you're going to find yourself later in life having to do it again and get it done the correct way. I hope that makes sense to you. I'll leave that with you. All right, so this is pile 2. We have the fox. We have the Queen of Wands. And we have the nosy old woman. So this goes in 2 ways. So there's a part A and there's a part B. Part A speaks on be careful how you speak on people. Specifically, if you're a person who is your mouthpiece can be your weapon. So you need to be very leery and very careful of how you speak on people. Even if that person, is not the best person, even if that person, how can I put it? We're just gonna keep it that way. Even if that person's not the best person, just be mindful of your power. You're somebody who has a lot of power in your mouthpiece. Your mouth alone is a spiritual weapon. Anything you speak, anything you say happens. So you have to be very careful, because you, in a way, can cause harm to individuals. Certain type of harm that you would never really want to cause. It's just that's your mouthpiece. So be careful of the things that you speak over people. Be careful of things out of frustration that you say over people. You speak over people's lives. Be careful of, in one aspect of gossiping. Be careful in one aspect of gossiping of people, because in a way, you don't want to lose your blessings. So this card's in reverse. This card typically talks about blessings. Try to keep those conversations short, so that because a lot of times when people become the subject of a conversation, at that point, that's when it becomes gossip. When that subject of the conversation continues and carries on and carries on and carries on for a very long time, now you're gossiping about that person. Now you're gossiping about those individuals. So be aware of that. Be aware of that and know how to recognize it when you're in that moment. Because everybody's human, everybody have frustration. Everybody vents out of frustration, but know when to stop venting. Know when to let it go is where I'm getting at. Because your mouthpiece is so strong that you can literally hurt somebody, and you don't want that to happen, because at that point it becomes craft. So you want to make sure that you are careful with your words. You are careful what you say over people, what you speak over people. You want to make sure you're careful so that you don't lose your blessings over you venting over somebody that has now caused them harm. And that's where this card, nosy old woman, came from. Give me a second. Let me go. There was 2 parts of this message. It's like part of the message applied to some people, another part of the message applied to other people. Let me get the other message. Oh, okay. So the other part of the message that had it was totally different message, but it's still It's different. It's a totally different message. Okay, so here's part B of this message, a part of cards 2. So if you pick card deck number 2, there's a part B, but this doesn't always apply to everybody. So part B, with this card, you have to just put yourself out there, honey, or Mr. Sir. You got to put yourself out there. Stop moving and operating in fear, because this card was in reverse. So go ahead and put yourself out there, because when we move and operate in fear, we only block our own blessings. We get in our own way. We become the own hindrance to ourselves. As my one coworker will often say to me, why did you do that to yourself? Why are you doing that to yourself? So why are you doing that to yourself? Don't be the reason why certain doors are not opening because you are afraid to step through them. You have to be willing to risk it all, to try something new in order for those blessings to come through. And for this card, don't worry about the naysayers, because a lot of times so what B, your fear is the nosy people, the nosy old people, the people that's watching from the unseen, the people that you know that are keeping tabs on you, that's trying to figure out what you're doing. Don't worry about them. You cannot worry about them, because you know why? The more you worry about them, the more you worry about their critique or what they may be thinking about you, or are you doing it right? Yada, yada, yada. Don't worry about that. Because the more you worry about that, the more you give to that energy, and the less this energy slowly pulls away. And there goes your blessings. Gone. All right. I hope you got that message. Have a good day. All right. So for those that pick cards 3, you have the Rider, hopefully you can see them. All right. Make sure your decisions are not done too prematurely. Make sure you're actually going to your ancestors. If you're somebody who has an altar, an ancestor altar, a spiritual altar, a place where you go to lay your burdens, a place that you go to fellowship and commune with your spirits, stop seeking other people before you seek them. I want to make sure I'm clear. I'm going to say it again. Make sure you go to your folks first. You have a concern. You have an issue. The writings are on the wall. It's plain to see. What you feeling, what you picking up on, you're right. Pay attention to your dreams, because they're giving you everything you need in your dreams. They're straight up telling you. This card talks about somebody being a girl being naive. This is not the time for you to be naive. When you're naive, at this point, you're being oblivious. And when you're being oblivious, you're straight up ignoring. But you're not totally straight up ignoring, because you kind of know there's something's wrong. You know there's an issue at hand. You're not going in the chain of command. You're skipping over your spirits. You're skipping over your ancestors. And you're like, let me go to this reader, or let me go to this individual so they can help me. When you have your own connection, you have your own source, your own connection with your spirits and your Agun, you need to make sure you sit with them first, because they're not going to speak to everybody else. They may be quiet because they may be quiet because they strictly want you to come to them first. There will come a point where you'll notice where they're not speaking to other people. Because now they're at the point where we're not speaking until you come to us first. See if there's anything else. Just make sure whenever you're making any type of decision, of course, put the logic behind there, but also you need to look at every aspect. Don't just make a decision and and don't make a decision and then your gut is also telling you, nah, I shouldn't do this. But then you still do it. You got to pay attention to all the signs. You're given that gift for a reason. Don't ignore it. Don't misuse it. Don't abuse it. I'll leave that with you. Thank you.